What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new football news video, and we have to talk about the Premier League luxury tax as they call it, because the Premier League clubs are thinking about introducing a new rule in the Premier League which would get rid of points deductions and all kinds of really harsh penalties for breaching financial fair play and profit and sustainability rules. And Premier League clubs are considering introducing this luxury tax because the overwhelming view from Premier League clubs is that the profit and sustainability rules is not working, and the luxury tax, which we will talk about in more detail, but it would just serve the most wealthy clubs, and I'm sure that it's behind Newcastle and Man United and Man City are behind this, because especially Man City and Newcastle, they can just keep paying whatever they want, and if the fine is just a money fine, then the richest clubs are virtually not affected, and they can just keep doing whatever they want to do. And it's very suspicious to me that just before Manchester City are about to get their harshest punishment, they are trying to introduce this, which will basically get rid of points deductions. These people are very short-sighted, and of course they are just wanting to just kind of do anything and everything that they want and breach the rules, and the clubs who are playing fair will get punished further by this. So what do you think about this? Let me know in the comments below, but please watch the video in full because I want to hash out all the details for you guys. The concern is also about wages, because the Premier League pays £2 billion more than the next highest paying league as it is, which is probably the La Liga. And if this rule is passed on and is passed into law, then the Premier League will become a joke, because the clubs who are owned by sovereign states, like Newcastle are owned by Saudi Arabia, Man City are owned by United Arab Emirates, they will just be happy to pay the luxury tax and keep breaching financial fair play rules. If you don't have a level playing field, what's the point of the Premier League? And this will just keep the Super League ideas coming back. It's an absolutely ridiculous idea, and I'm not even sure why some clubs in the bottom half of the table are supporting this. But one of the reasons might be is that the luxury tax paid by the clubs who breach financial fair play and profit and sustainability rules, that gets put into a pool of money that will go to clubs who are following the rules. And the more I think about it, the worse this luxury tax proposal is, because the Premier League is refusing to deal with Manchester City for breaching allegedly 115 financial fair play rules. They are thinking of ways for for Man City and Newcastle to spend as much money as they want, and this is the worst proposal yet that I heard from the Premier League. So let Man City and Newcastle spend as much as they want, and some of that money will be paid into this pool of fines that will just go to other clubs. But still, that would only help Man City and Newcastle and these clubs that have unlimited amounts of money, unlimited resources, and it would just make the Premier League even more about the money and nothing else. According to Mike Keegan, the journalist who is breaking this story in the Daily Mail, the Premier League is eyeing introducing an NBA style luxury tax, because they are fearing that top stars will leave if rules restrict their pay, after Everton and Nottingham Forest lost some points. And I mean, that's not really on the agenda. I mean, top stars are already coming to the Premier League because they are paid absolutely ridiculous amounts of money. And what I find shocking is that, according to this journalist, the Premier League, after they had a quiet January transfer window, after Everton and Nottingham Forest were handed points deductions because of breaching existing financial fair play and profit and sustainability rules, some officials already think that these rules are not fit for purpose. I mean, they are exactly fit for purpose. They are doing what they are supposed to do. You can't just have huge losses every season, because that's not how football for clubs should be run. And according to the journalist, the Premier League clubs are fearing that under its current guise, these profit and sustainability rules will see the Premier League fall from its lucrative position as the world's best league, because it will no longer be able to afford the best players on the best salary. The radical reform has been discussed among the Premier League clubs. An entirely new system could be voted in at the end of the season meeting in June. According to this report, 17 of the 20 clubs are thought to be leaning towards significant change. 14 clubs need to be in agreement to get a rule change. Only 3 clubs are opposing this idea. Then these Premier League clubs have just gone mad. Absolute mad. And according to the report, some clubs in the Premier League feel that the 6-point deduction that Everton got and the 4-point deduction that Nottingham Forest got were way too harsh and not reflective of why these profit and sustainability rules were introduced. They believe that should clubs wish to have a go and have the money to do so, they should not face a punishment that could relegate them. A luxury tax has been considered, where those clubs who overspend will have a financial punishment which would increase the money that they can spend, but clubs can choose to press on regardless if they wish. And the money collected, which could run into the tens of millions of pounds, would then be redistributed to those clubs who complied with the rules, the Premier League clubs, I mean. It has been discussed that some of the fines could even go into an emergency fund to assist English Football League clubs who have financial difficulties. And this is very dangerously close to following the American model, because in the NBA and in the Major League Baseball League, they have a luxury tax where you go above the limit of wages, the limit of salaries, you pay a luxury tax. But the Premier League, there is no relegation and no promotion in the NBA, so it would be a very dangerous precedent if this was announced in the Premier League. America's other 2 main sports leagues, the NFL and the NHL, have hard salary caps which clubs are not allowed to exceed. Some Premier League clubs want the tax to remove the threat of points deductions entirely. Premier League insiders are saying that any proposal will still include an element of sporting sanction, and that would be aimed more at providing additional flexibility and a little bit of a buffer zone. UEFA's new rule, which limits spending on player and coach wages, transfers and agent fees to 70% of club revenue, is also viewed favorably by some. I think that is actually a very good rule, that you first need to increase the revenues of the club, and after that you can spend on wages and transfer fees and manager salaries. But you actually need to do smart transfers, and you need to have a very good structure in place, and not just spend the money that you haven't even earned yet, because that would lead to a lot of clubs going bankrupt, and also other clubs just being pumped up artificially by money coming from outside the football. There was also another system being discussed among Premier League clubs. That system is called anchoring system. It is a form of salary cap where the amount any club can spend is directly related to the wage bill spent by the bottom club. So if Sheffield United, for example, finish bottom with an annual wage bill of £50 million, every club would have a set multiple of that figure to spend for the following season. Again, if a club breaks the salary cap, they pay the luxury tax. There are other financial points up for debate at the end of the season meeting. A growing number of clubs want to change financial rules so that only spend on players, buying and salaries, and coaching staff is taken into account over the 3-year reporting period. Currently, only money spent on new stadium, infrastructure, youth development, community project is exempt from being calculated as part of the £105 million the loss that the clubs can have in a rolling 3-year period. But those pushing for only players and staff to be included believe it would free up clubs to invest in the likes of content, digital and marketing to grow their global fan bases. Now this last idea I can get behind, actually. So the situation is very complex. Traditionally, the big six clubs of Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham and Liverpool have tended to vote together. However, it is understood that there has been a seismic shift in relationships, with Saudi-owned Newcastle now included in a big seven. Some fear that rules to encourage investment would result in a more competitive league, which would increase interest levels and safeguard against the future. I mean, the Premier League is already fiercely competitive. Don't change something that already works. You know already there is a title race with 3 teams involved. There is also a race to qualify for Europe with like 10 or 11 or even 12 teams involved. If the top 5 qualify for the Champions League, then even 8th place could qualify for the Conference League and 6th, 7th could qualify for the Europa League. So there is still already fierce competition in the Premier League. There are already 5, 6, 7 clubs in a race to avoid relegation. So I don't think anything needs to be changed. Actually, the rules need to be upheld by the clubs. And really, it just needs to, the Premier League needs to be consistent in, punishing clubs who make more than £105 million loss in a rolling 3-year period. But if the Premier League clubs agree to this, the luxury tax, that could be the beginning of the end of the Premier League as we know it. But that's just my opinion. I think this is a very stupid idea, and maybe, some rules need to be amended and tweaked a little bit. But to remove points deductions and harsh punishments altogether, it would be like the Wild West again. And remember when Chelsea and Man City were allowed to spend pretty much unlimited amounts of money? That resulted in an era of dominance by Chelsea and an era of dominance by Man City. I mean, Man City still have won 5 of the previous 6 Premier League titles. Do the Premier League still want that to happen? Do they want just 1 or 2 clubs to be able to win the league consistently? Do the Premier League want to turn into a Bundesliga where, there is a club who wins like 9 titles out of 10? I don't think so. I think the Premier League should keep it as competitive as it is right now and just uphold the rules. Force the clubs to follow the rules, because the majority of the clubs follow the rules, like 90%. Force the others to follow the rules, punish them accordingly. That's my opinion. Also, brilliant that in the last 38 games, so if you look at the Premier League, in the last 38 games, which would result in a full season, Liverpool have taken 90 points, and we would be first if you take into account the last 38 games, because Liverpool have 90 points, Man City have 86, Arsenal have 77, Aston Villa actually have 73, so Aston Villa would be in the top 4 comfortably, because Man United have 67, Tottenham have 64 and Newcastle have 59 points in the past 38 games. And you know what Liverpool's Premier League best was for 38 games before Jurgen Klopp became the manager? 87. So actually Jurgen Klopp has put in like 3 or 4 historic seasons where Liverpool got more points than ever before in their Premier League history, and I think that is a massive achievement, and Jurgen Klopp will go down as one of the all-time best managers that Liverpool have ever had, and definitely in the past 30 years Jurgen Klopp is the best manager that Liverpool had in modern era football, in modern era Premier League. Jurgen Klopp is the best manager. Nothing really changed in terms of the title race yesterday. Arsenal won 2-0 comfortably against Luton as expected, and Man City beat a very weakened Aston Villa side who rotated some players weirdly, and also their goalkeeper became ill just before the game started, so the second choice goalkeeper started, and Aston Villa lost 4-1 in the end, even though they put up a good fight in the first half. Man City was just too good for them, so nothing really changed. Liverpool need to win probably 8 of the last 9 games, potentially all 9, if it comes down to goal difference. But yeah, if we win all 9 of our games, then we win the title. Nobody can do anything about that. So hopefully Liverpool will win against Sheffield United. Some Liverpool fans are dreaming of a big scoreline, but we always played close games against Sheffield United. But hopefully we will finish our chances, because then it would be a comfortable victory. And Liverpool we should try not just to win the game, but we should try to win it by a big margin, because goal difference can come down to being important. Because if Liverpool have a draw, then we will be level on points with Arsenal, for example, if they win. And then it would come down to goal difference. And Arsenal's goal difference at the moment is 8 goals better than Liverpool's goal difference. But the most important thing for Liverpool is just to win. And let's see what happens. Let's beat Sheffield United. And then, you know, the big Manchester-Liverpool game on the weekend is absolutely massive. Liverpool also have told Mainz that they will not negotiate a deal for Sepp van den Berg for another loan spell until Mainz isn't confirmed to stay in the Bundesliga, because Liverpool don't want to loan Sepp van den Berg out to the Bundesliga 2, the second division in Germany. So they want to see whether Mainz stay up or get relegated, and after that we can discuss the loan spell of Sepp van den Berg, who is now developing very, very well. And Mainz is actually having a troubled season, but Sepp van den Berg has been playing well for them, and I hope they stay up. They are one of Jurgen Klopp's former clubs, so I wish them well. And that's it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a nice day. Thanks for watching. See you later. Goodbye.